The decline to me is going to be the Giants. They have a very, it's going to bother you. They have a very hard schedule. They have to play, obviously, Philly, Dallas twice, at Buffalo, at Miami, at San Francisco, the Jets. That's a very hard schedule. Everybody know they're going to go to school on the Giants. I don't think they got a great wide receiver. I know Daniel Jones. Can I see it again? I'm not that high. They'd be 9-8, 8-9. They're going to work hard to make the postseason. I would say New York decline out of the NFC.
I'm of the mindset it's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I will remind everybody that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went to the playoffs last year with an 8-9 record. 8-9 record. And that was when Tom Brady was throwing the football. They now have Baker Mayfield. Just stop the presses. I don't know if y'all heard it. Just stop the presses. We're just supposed to believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are better times on the horizon because Baker Mayfield is succeeding Tom Brady. Are you kidding me? 1 winning record in 5 years. One winning record in 5 years. Now, you got to beat Pittsburgh in a playoff game. I'll give him credit where credit is due. And Baker Mayfield, I'm not trying to say he's some scrub. I know he can play. But come on, y'all. It's a precipitous drop-off. Not to mention the fact that they had the worst rushing attack last year in football. Why should I believe it's going to be any better this year? Averaging about 3.4 yards per rush. I'm not sold on them. I'm not sold on them at all. And so for me, I love Todd Bowles. I respect him profoundly. Elite coordinator, still has some things to prove as the head coach.
Yep.
But when you look at Baker Mayfield succeeding Tom Brady, I'm sorry. I think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I say, oh, please, you're not going anywhere, even with Mike Evans as your all-world receiver.
I think that is very fair. The thing is that the reason I wouldn't have taken Tampa, I'm not expecting a lot out of Tampa anyway. The Giants, people are expecting a lot out of the Giants. So I'll go the other way and stay low.
I'd like to comment on that, but I want to hear from RC first.
Well, the first thing is this. Stephen A's going to have to stop talking about my shirts now that he goes to his tailor and says, make me whatever Ryan Clark has. You can't talk about my shirt no more.
True.
You legitimately were on the podcast P show dressed as me. It should have been Halloween because you went to that show and said, hey, I'm going to look just like RC. So you can't do it anymore.
False.
And
False.
It's not false. It's not false.
Right.
That's not false.
And by the way, you didn't have the ice. You didn't have the ice. You didn't have the drip game working either.
Wait, hold on. Was yours black?
No, it was white.
It was
yes.
white. With a chain?
It was white
color?
on that one. It was black last week with Nemo Brown.
And you had it made?
Long sleeve. It was long
sleeve. It was custom?
It was long sleeve, but it was long sleeve, not short sleeve, and I had the drip game.
But was it custom?
Answer
Was
Molly's
custom
question.
made?
Was it custom?
I had it made, yes.
Oh, you had it made?
Yes, I had it made. That's
Yes,
custom.
exactly.
I'm just wondering who inspired it. Having it made.
Say what? No. I told them I would get a couple of his shirts.
I was just trying to get to the bottom of the story for the American people at home.
I ain't lying. But it's just a couple of shirts.
Hey,
you didn't realize
Molly.
how extensive my wardrobe is? A couple of shirts does not make a wardrobe.
Oh, my gosh.
Go ahead, RC.
Oh
Go ahead.
my
I
gosh.
apologize.
Let me answer this question, Molly.
That's true.
I think it's the Minnesota Vikings. Remember, the Minnesota Vikings won the NFC North last year. They were a 13-win team. Go back to all of the one-score games they had to win. Think about coming back, the largest comeback in NFL history against the Indianapolis Colts. This is a team that teeter-totted on not being the NFC North champion the entire year. And the Green Bay Packers are going to be better this year. They don't have an injured quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. We also know that the Detroit Lions excelled toward the end of the season. Now they're coming in with another year under head coach Dan Campbell's belt, where this team truly fits the image that he wants it to have. They've improved greatly through the draft and through free agency. I expect this defense to be much better than they were last year. And Jared Goff is a guy who's taken the reins as the quarterback and can be a franchise guy in Detroit. And Chicago, we know what they've done to try to help Justin Fields. They're banged up on the front end in the offensive line, but they're skilled players everywhere there this year. I just think the NFC North is going to be better as a whole. And I don't see this team even going out and getting Brian Flores as a defense coordinator. I don't see this team winning those close games as often as they did last year. And we have to remember, Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the entire world. And even what he did last year exceeds expectations for what we're used to seeing in this league. And so he's going to have to repeat that and then some with no Dalvin Cook in the backfield. TJ Hockenson just got paid a boatload of money. And if I'm Justin Jefferson, I'm sitting in my locker and saying, what about me? TJ Hockenson comes over from Detroit. You make him the highest paid, or he gets the most guaranteed money ever for a tight end. And I'm sitting here like, hey, what's happening? Haven't we been talking about my deal all year? And so I think that the Minnesota Vikings are a team that will not reach the heights they reached last year. And I decided to go somewhere different than both of you guys who picked average teams anyway.
I agree with you there, Ryan. It's a very weird pick. The whole world knows they're going to be a
You
bad
just
team.
finished saying it was a good pick. Now it's weird.
Well, it's an obvious
2
one.
minutes later, it's weird. But 2 minutes ago, it was a good
one.
pick. Oh, Stevie, that was a good pick. Stevie, that was a good pick. And now it's weird. See how you do? You say, see how you do? That's all right, though. By the way, I'm not going to be able to host the show because I got my podcast.
Oh, I don't want to hear about that. No, that's on.
I can't do this.
Oh,
I can't
come
do
up
the
with
show.
something else.
I got to come up. I got to
Well,
come
then
up
come
with
up with
something else. I'll figure it out before the end of the show.
The bottom line is when the Bills have 12, you're out. I don't want to hear from you. You're going nowhere. When you had that little over-under.
All right, you know what I do?
What's
if I
that?
lose the bet, I'll buy you a suit.
I have plenty of nice clothes.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
No,
No, you don't. You need my
That is
help.
not right.
You need my
Why
help.
wouldn't you want a suit?
Because that's not enough. He don't
you
care
want
about that.
more.
He can be one of his. I want to get on the air. I want to take over here.
Okay.
You're out.
I got that.
You're out.
I'm talking about if I win. If I win.
Well, you got to come up with something.
I got to come with something.
All right. Anyway, the Giants are the team that I think are going to drop off.
Is it just based on the schedule?
Last year they played Carolina. They played the AFC South.
Yeah.
I mean, this year they're going to be playing Philly and Dallas are 2-4 tough games. They're going to lose 2 out of their first 3 at San Francisco, at Buffalo, at Miami. They're in for, I know you're a Giant fan.
Yeah.
They're in for an 8,
Molly.
9, 7, and 10
RC,
kind of
Please.
do you
He goes
agree
to
with
one
that?
game every 3 years. Don't worry about that. Go ahead.
Listen, when you look at the Giants, they're going to be a better team this year. It doesn't necessarily mean the record shakes out the same with the schedule.
Yeah.
But we have to remember, this team won early last year, right? So they got out to a big jump, and then we saw them settle in, and they weren't as successful down the stretch. You can't forget that there's now Jalen Hyatt, and that Saquon Barkley is back. And on the other side of that, Darren Waller can absolutely do everything. When we have these tight end conversations, the way that we leave him out just is mind-boggling to me. He's in the conversation with the Kelseys and the Kittles and the Mark Andrews when we're talking about pass-catching tight ends, and actually maybe a little more talented from what he can do from a measurable standpoint. And so when you look at this team, they can be a lot better. And I'm going to say this. The feeling that we as the media have about Daniel Jones, they don't have that feeling about him in that building. The one thing that struck me in talking to Daves at practice and walking around that building, talking to the players, Darren Waller, speaking of the chemistry they had from the first time they got on the field, there's a lot of belief there in Daniel Jones. And I believe defensively they're going to be really good. I'm not going to take Mad Dog's side here on the Giants. They could actually be a better team this year than they were last.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.